so that all these responses will have some unique format, unique structure. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create one folder in common, and I will name it as interceptor, and then I'm just going to create one file here, response.interceptor.ts. Okay, and now I'm gonna create one class, export class, response interceptor, and implements nest interceptor, and it should be a provider. I mean it, so we'll have to annotate it with injectable. Okay, and then we should put it in common module here. Come on, why it is not loading? So I'm just going to add it here. Also we need to put it in export, or probably not, since we are going to configure it globally. So I don't think we also need it to. Okay, yeah, we'll have to put it here, but probably will not need to export it. So let's see, like when we'll define, we'll see how it works. So now we are getting some errors. So if I just click on it, okay, it's not showing what methods I need to overwrite. I will also use data type st. Yeah, now it is coming. Okay, no, so it's not showing what methods I need to override. So what I will do, I will go in nest interceptor, and there's a method called intercept. So in this interface, I need to actually define this intercept. So I will have to write I have to implement the this intercept method. Okay, so it can return observable or it can return promise. Let's remove this thing and let's keep it observable. And now if I return next dot handle, these things are not defined, so I will quickly import it. Okay, it's not automatically getting imported. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use manual. I can manually type it for observable. So it should come from RxJS, and if I just copy and paste observable from here to here, it should work. And what is R? So okay, so it should be a response type, like what we are trying to return. So I'll modify it in some time. Okay, so what we are going to do next is we are going to use this context. So using this context, we can get request and response. To get the request from the context, what we need to do, we need to first use switch to HTTP and switch to our RPC. It be depending on what protocol we are using. Right now we are using HTTP, so we can get the request, and we can. So if you use RPC, you won't have same methods. Okay, so I just want to convert it into the convert it to HTTP, and then I wanted to get the request. I can also get the response here, but from request what I need is I need two things: method. So in response I will be providing the details, like what are the details of the response, as well like URL method. That's why I'm just getting it out from the request. I have destructured method and URL. Okay, now let's go and configure logger. So what I can do, like I will just finish this up and then we will configure the logger and we'll come back and set up all the logs here. Okay, so that will be a separate video then. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use here in next dot handle. So if you know, like this returns an observable, so what I can do, I can just put pipe. So pipe, it can just uh, pipe streams of data, and then we can, since we want to modify the response, so we can use map allows us to modify the response, and we can put the data here, and then we need to import this map as well from RxJS. And from data, what we can do, let's do one thing here in data. What we can do, return one object status code, and this will be a context dot switch to http dot get response. So I want to get the response, and from response we can get the status code. Okay, next what could be the next thing, message. And okay, so I want to configure it dynamically. Let's say if we have message, message, we can say message as const, and this could be if data dot message. If there's a property inside data is the response which we are trying to return. So if it has some message property, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use or do one thing, try to add this way. If data dot message, and here what we can do, message equal to data dot message, and we'll have to delete this data dot message from it, otherwise we'll have redundancy, like we will see message here as well as we will also see message in data, like we are going to define this way. So we'll see message here as well as we are going to see message inside the data, since it can be inside the data, right? Okay, to fix this error, like it is not detecting data as type T, so what we can do, we can provide data as T. Okay, and so data as T, and probably it will have so let's do one thing, let's put it any here, and it will fix this and then return. So what we can do in return, here what we can do, if you notice what error it is giving, it is giving property status is missing on state 2. So we have done one typo. Now I will try to format this code. So why we created a variable for request, so I was trying to use logger here for method and URL. We can also pass it in the response, but that is fine, like we already know method and URL here. But in log probably we'll need method and URL. So right now we can use console log here, like console.log, and we can enter something like incoming request method and $URL. In next video we will replace it with actual logger, okay, and we'll add it logger here, and after the response it will log it. So let's try it out and see how this works. I'm just going to try on get users. So did we create this method? No. So let's try it with the register only. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use some other variable. uh, we can rock, and then now let's try it out. Until unless we register it, like we configure it with the middleware, nothing will happen. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use global interceptors, and here with this what I can just pass is our instance. So what we can do, new response interceptor. So although you might be thinking like we made it injectable, and we are just passing it as global field, I mean global interceptor. So in case of like when this is a global interceptor, when we are creating an instance, I don't think we need this, and probably will not need it to keep it in the here as well. So we can remove it from here, since if you see like when server runs, we are actually creating an instance of this new response interceptor, right? So let's try it again and see if this is working. Member 4, what could be the name? I'm just typing some random number, random letters. Okay, now if you notice, we are getting message, we are getting data, but if you see, we didn't get status code. And why that happened? Okay, so here instead of like this word is incorrect, so we need to write status code, right? And what we can do is like we can uh, create a variable for response as well, const response, and this we can just use this way, and after this we can type here response dot status code. So if I go back here and try to type status or something, status code, so http code, so we can use http code here, and http code. Okay, and now we can use http status dot created. Let's try to import this and see if this works. I don't see any error, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save a new user, and now we can see the status code 201 is coming up. Alright, so that was it from this video. In next video we will set up logger.